Hi, welcome to Foxy Little Nuggets, where we scrape the mouldy top off the news and see what's wriggling underneath. It's got some stories here that we'll go through just as a summary of the day. First up, of course, is Henry Novak, and now the political feeding frenzy that goes with it. The murder of Henry is still dominating the news, and it's moved, I mean, rightly so, but it's moved beyond Britain. It's actually gone worldwide now. This is a major international incident, and there are people in every country in the world watching to see what the outcome of this will be. It's a sort of institutional failure that should make every senior police officer wince and squirm and check whether their resignation letter is up to date. Keir Starmer has now met with Henry's family. It took him long enough. And he's accused Elon Musk of trying to whip up division over this case, which is brave, considering the power that Elon has and Starmer doesn't. But it's often said there's one thing British politics can't stand is a foreign billionaire. UK billionaires obviously are fine; they're donors. But that's the problem he's got. But America has joined in. The Defense Department, State Department, has apparently warned against two-tier policing in this country as well. It's wonderful, isn't it? Marco Rubio put his 2 pence worth in as well. So Britain has now been publicly lectured on law enforcement by America, a country where routine traffic stops can end up escalating into helicopter footage. Yeah. Of course, the difference there is that when the cops killed a person in custody, he happened to be black and Starmer bent the knee. When our cops kill someone in custody, he's white, so Starmer doesn't bend the knee. It's very weird, the colour reaction, isn't it? Still tells you something. Once Washington starts offering calm advice on policing, Westminster has actually set fire to the moral high ground. But moving on, we've got Andy Burnham. Oh dear, Andy Burnham has stopped pretending. He's now signalled that he is definitely going to run in a Labour leadership contest if he wins. Hitherto it was unsaid, but now it's said. This is, of course, assuming he wins the Makerfield by-election. There it is. The local campaign for local people has become a very local campaign for one man's career. He says he wants to represent constituents at, quote, the highest level. Well, there's none higher than Prime Minister. So basically, I will be your MP right up until I can become your Prime Minister, then you're on your own. Makerfield voters are being offered a representative who will no longer represent them. He'll have a forwarding address, not in the constituency, but somewhere in Westminster, 10 Downing Street. Burnham, this self-appointed King of the North, it's a title that sounds like, someone who does not want to be democratically accountable, doesn't it? He's looking really for a Greggs-based feudal system. You'll all bow down to the King of the North, take the knee. Then we've got Mandelson, the mould, the fungal infection that is Mandelson. It continues to spread. The files are still hanging over Starmer like a chandelier in a haunted Blairite dining room. Release documents, and there's awkward messages, clearance questions, political survival. The whole thing has the stench of New Labour leftovers reheated in the microwave of integrity. This is Labour's problem. Every time Starmer says grown-up government, a filing cabinet opens and Peter Mandelson falls out. The public were promised seriousness. What they got was a WhatsApp archaeology, factional poison, and a vetting process apparently conducted by closing one's eyes and hoping nobody mentioned anything unfortunate. How on earth he got the job, nobody knows, and we still don't because they won't release that particular document. Moving on, royal news. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, no longer royal really, is it? Anyway, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the miracle of the peppercorn. Reports say that Andrew sublet cottages on the Royal Lodge estate while paying a nominal peppercorn rent to the Crown estate. Now, to be fair, it's kind of entrepreneurial. Most people look at royal estate and see privilege. Well, Andrew certainly did. But apparently the lease allowed subletting. Now, nobody is quite sure how much he made because he's a private individual and he can keep his earnings secret. But royal finances traditionally are like medieval plumbing, ancient, hidden, and occasionally leaking something unspeakable into public life. We have, of course, also something that really hasn't caught the public imagination at all. I think it's basically because it's too embarrassing. The NHS are trying to keep it covered, but there is a massive anti-Semitism problem in the NHS. A government-commissioned report found Jewish NHS staff and patients have faced ostracism, intimidation and abuse, with reforms now planned including restrictions on political symbols on uniforms, particularly the pro-Palestine. I'm all for this. I'm all for removing politics from uniforms. So long as when you do this, you do it fairly and you treat all symbols as political and take them all off. Hospitals are supposed to be places where the identity is irrelevant and treatment is urgent, not student union common rooms with cannulas. And so the proposal is to remove any sort of pro-Palestine stuff. Oh, it's fine. Remove all pro-Palestine stuff, pro-Israel stuff. Let's get rid of all those rainbows. Let's get rid of anything that's political, stinks of politics. When you go to hospital, it should be where does it hurt, not whose side are you on. The NHS has got enough problems without importing geopolitics into a ward round. It can barely manage a discharge letter without turning into a missing person inquiry. But, we do have one. Well, we can end on a little bit of the good news, something nice, something, the and finally, if you will. Because while Westminster is collapsing into yet another moral skipfire, Bristol, down there in the southwest, has decided that the correct response is 5-metre-high trousers covered in cheese designs. Yep, this is frankly the sort of leadership Britain needs. There's no manifesto, no fiscal event, no difficult choices. Just an enormous pair of animated trousers standing proudly in public, bringing joy to all. Children, tourists and adults who realise the country now makes more sense if it's viewed as a stop-motion plasticine model. The trousers, of course, are inspired by Wallace and Gromit, which is fitting because British politics also contains a nervous man, a silent genius, and several contraptions that immediately go wrong. Still, for once, something large, ridiculous and publicly funded might actually make someone smile. And there we have it. Thanks very much. Bye.